I was hoping not to do this video at 9 months, and I was going to get like a 6 or a 7 in, but I guess not, chat. I guess not. Let's roll the intro and give you another update. Hello everybody, my name is Catherine, and welcome to another update on hormone replacement therapy and the experiences that I go through. Now, if you want to know about this voice, while it's definitely not the ideal one for what I want to go for, it's part of the process of trying to learn how to do voice therapy and figuring out what I want. As you can see, there's some cracks here, so clearly I'm not adjusted to this, but this is kind of where it's coming to go. And yeah, noted on that, I'll just breach off to that for a second. I think the hardest thing for me about voice therapy is if you've been on this channel long enough, if you know who I am, like if you've been around me, you know who I am. Like if you know, my voice just kind of goes everywhere already. It's hard to shape it when the shape itself is just an elongated jump rope. I don't know if that's a good comparison, but it's just you jump, and it goes everywhere. You can't really pinpoint it into a box of what I stand for because my voice just goes everywhere. And now with voice therapy, you can't even tell really if what I'm doing is actually like me trying to engrave that or if that's just my natural voice going out. We had this problem like the last time I went. It's we're just trying just grab a voice, shoot for it, and see what you sound like. And like that's the problem. Like I'll find a voice, I'll grab it, and then when I start talking like that, if I start talking for more than like 30 seconds, it's gonna go kind of back down to wherever I am. Like it. But that's just my voice. My voice just kind of does that. So it's as far as voice training and figuring out where I am, that's a whole nother topic. That's a whole nother discussion. But for here, on this video, for this purpose, let's talk about the things, my little 3 capsules of pill bottles that you can kind of see, but not really, in the background, have done to me physically and mentally in the last 6 months. Because I did want to do a video at 6 months, but I'm like, you know what, progesterone, let's give it a month on that, and then we'll do the video for 7. Then I couldn't do that because I forgot. And then for the 8th month, I had something recorded, but I just didn't get a chance to edit it. And because of that, it just kind of sat there, and I'm like, okay, there's no point of really releasing this. Let's just get to the 9-month mark and do that. And maybe I'm wrong, maybe it would have been fine, but I want these to be more accurate, more like up to date. See, again, for those who don't know, my first date is 4/20, so that's my like pilliversary or HRT, whatever you want to call it. Right now we're on January 24th, so it has been 9 months and 4 days, we'll say. So I want it to be more accurate to what like you'll get there, and of course everyone's different. So like, don't expect what I tell you here to be accurate to what you'll go through. You might go through some of these same things, or they might be more or less than what I got. So, for me, let's just go over the things I've experienced. And this video will probably be longer because I got 6 months to cover. And I think the first thing I do want to hit on, because I hit on it I hit in the last video that it was kind of like a hit or miss or whatnot. So I do want to hit it on this video. And I talk about like the emotional side, the emotional range, the emotional context. So like, for me, I'm still in this weird thing, and I think a lot of it is actual mental health things that I've been going through. But like, because of it, it's certain things are blocked off, or certain things are like hard for me to find, or certain emotions are hard to interact with or react to. But I think with this, in a way, it's helped me, I don't know if I want to say process, but like accept more of these feelings, accept more of the emotions. And I think another one of those is like sadness. It's like when you sadness has always been like it's like of course I get sad, but like it's really hard to get me emotional. And I think with this it does help out a bit. I mean, it might hit you more harder than me, like because with the 9 months I still haven't hit the drop something on the floor and cry. I have not hit that kind of thing. But I will tell you a little story of something that happened, just and give you an idea what I mean by that for me. Last month, I had two friends who, like, I chatted with them in their own separate worlds, separate entities. They didn't know each other. But I kind of, like, would reference one to the other a lot, just because, one of them is one of my best friends. So, like, of course, they're a part of my life. But that caught on to another person who also started taking interest just because of the things I said. I say certain things about my friend, and so one person caught interest, like, this person seems cool, blah 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 blah. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna have a little fun with it. So I took some messages that this person said and sent it to my other friend. Just to like, hey, this is what this person is saying about you. And it's like positive stuff, positive, arguably flirty stuff with them. Thought like and my friend who, I don't really see like I guess be like open about relationship stuff. Like that's just not who he was or who he is, I should say. He was just never that open. But like seeing this, it was so weird because it's like it started like affecting him. The thing like some of the things I said, I won't repeat them for obvious reasons here, but like it seems like there was something there. So I'm like, hey, why don't you meet this person? Why don't you come introduce yourself, talk it out, and see where you guys could go? Just see what could happen. So we did that, got them together, blah blah blah, and for like a good 2 weeks maybe, it was going great. It was going fantastic, and you really thought like they could do this. They could pull like it could be something. And I'm over here just like, I'm a love doctor up in this bitch. And like, cool. And like, don't get me wrong, had it not worked out, I'm like, this is no big deal. It is what it is. I thought it could work. If it doesn't, oh well, we move on. Turns out after that 2 weeks, I got the one friend saying like, hey, I don't think it's gonna work out. And I'm like in my mind, I'm thinking, oh darn, that sucks. Oh well, like that's what I'm thinking in my mind. But somehow, some way, I'm bawling. I'm at work, and I cannot stop crying. I can't. I just like in my mind. I'm like I wasn't really like I didn't. It didn't like yeah. I was sad, but like I didn't like my day wasn't affected. My day wasn't ruined, and of course like I'll move on. Like and like this isn't even involving me. It's two friends who I hope they could get together, and if not, oh well. But like I was crying. I'm at work, seeing these messages at like 8 a.m. and I'm just in tears, and I feel guilty because I told my friend like, damn, I know the hormones are working now because I'm crying my eyes out, and it's like. I wasn't sad. I'm like smiling. I'm like laughing at work because I'm having a good time. Like I'm in a good mood, and like I'm even a good like I'm like sad, but I'm still in a good mood when this person tells me it's not gonna work out. But I'm crying like real like genuine tears just consistently. But like I wasn't like this is not one of those damn like damn like this is not gonna work out. Life sucks. Blah blah blah. Like I was fine. I'm able to work, but like I just couldn't stop crying. And I think that's what I mean with the emotional stuff. It's not the actual things, but it's just the effect. Like like when you see something that of course you're sad about, but like it's not something that you would think about too much and you'll just move on. Like this is not something you're thinking about. But I don't know if it was just me being sad for my friends that the two of them couldn't work it out. But like I could I really don't know how to explain it other than just like I couldn't help but be sad. Just like genuine tears. Just and I couldn't stop. I was there for like 10 minutes. I could not stop. And I'm like, it's. I think I made a post. I don't remember if I did or not, but like, I think that one was the one that caught me off guard the most. And outside of that, of course, certain things. Yeah, like you get sad, obviously, or work when people are being assholes. You get a stressful day. I don't really argue with people anyway. So when someone's getting on my case at work, I, in a weird way, try to be people pleasing. In another way, I just kind of shut down. So like, I'm still that way, but like, I feel like I guess just certain things, like maybe better off when I'm not like in public and I'm to myself. But like certain things, I guess just hit harder or hit slightly harder for me. And and I think again, everyone's gonna be different. I don't know if you're gonna have a situation like that when you get there. This was during like the 7 8 months. Emotions are emotions, and you'll learn to trust yourself with those emotions as time goes on. But I think that's the big one for me. Like that's the big thing I can start off with. And so the next thing I'm going to talk about, because when you start out on the hormones, that libido, it goes downhill. But then, by the time you get to that 5 or 6 months, I don't want to say it comes back up, but like there's an increase where it's like, oh, maybe this resonates with me, maybe this makes me feel a certain way. Cause like I'm not kidding to you, like aside from girlfriend flirting for obvious reasons, but aside from that, I never really like nothing really stuck out to me. Nothing really like excited me or turned me on, so to speak. So, but by that 5 or 6 month, there started to be that like hey, maybe blah 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 blah. And then when you get to 6 months, you start on this lovely thing called progesterone, which basically is estrogen but on steroids. So it's supposed to do what estrogen does, but at like a quicker rate. So when you're doing both, it's a speed up process. I guess like the best way to say it is this first 6 months, let's alert. Um, they just try to get your body used to it, and then after that, it's hammer down as much as you can without actually hurting yourself. But hammer as much as you can, so that way we can keep going and get going. But with progesterone, one of the things they talk about with that, a big one, and I guess this is more like in the community rather than they tell you in the office, in the doctor's offices, which they do bring up, but like not to the severity that the internet will let you know. But it shoots back up, or it spikes back up. But for me, it's less of my libido was like here, then it went down here, and then it's up to here, and then it's up to here. Like that didn't happen for me. What happens for me now is that I still stay at this like steady tone. It wasn't as bad. Like it wasn't what I normally was, but it wasn't as bad as I was when I started. It was like in this middle ground where it just kind of evens out. Here, let me actually get an angle with the camera. Evens out. It evens out, and then you'll get those moments. Mostly, definitely influenced by something, but it could be just random. Where I kid you not, at least for me, yeah, camera angle is hard. Zzz. And not like a gradually. Zzz. It shoots up, and it's one of those where it's like you thought you've been down bad before, but oh boy, it hits you like a truck, and you just feel it like in your chest, especially like it's one thing for like other, but you feel it in your chest that emotion that I'm trying to think of the right words here, that intimacy, that it's hard to describe because like I don't really know what the right words are here, but it's just like com- I can't think of the right word, but like it just spikes up and like it's almost like you're just in the mood without even like being in a situation where you want to be in the mood. You're just it just spikes up and like boom, you're there, you're ready, have a partner or just even someone around in general like, hey, I, that's what I tell you. I kid you not. The first time it hit me, I kid you not. I'm in bed. I'm in bed behind me, laying down. I'm just scrolling through Twitter, getting ready for bed. And I see a art piece that shows that intimacy, shows that love, blah blah blah, and it like activated something in me. I kid you not. It's that like I like to the point where I had to put my phone down, and I laid there for an hour. I felt like it almost felt like I don't know, like I was actually having some sort of medical problem, like at one point, but like not in like the actual like medical problem, like the heart rate you could feel, the shortness of breath, but also like that stimuli in like the sensitive areas, like stimulating. It's just the feeling like you want something and you want it bad, if that makes sense. Which also plays into, like I said, when you're doing the estradiol and a little bit of progesterone long enough. For me, I've noticed like creativity and imagination have increased like tenfold for me. Like there are certain things that like it expands, and like you can think of more details, you can think of more scenarios, events, and that's just all. Not necessarily for sexual things, but like just in general, like you can think of more details, events, scenarios, all little down, like tiny down details. And coming from someone who had dreams that I was very good at describing in detail, there's an increase. Or telling stories I can pull shit out of my ass. Like the imagination increases significantly. So it's one of those things where like, especially with that. And then I'll say this. I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. As someone who, like for a good majority of my life, like in my cis man years, I thought I was hetero. Like, I thought, like, definitely women, only women. And then, like, for a couple of months, or a couple of months before I came out, as not cis, I went bi. And as bisexual, I still am, clearly, but I always thought to myself, like, it was just one of those things where it's like, sure, a couple of people here or there, maybe. So that's like, yeah, clearly I'm not straight. But like, it was still definitely women. And for being trans, I was still like majority women. Like, again, both for sure, but like, I was definitely women preference. Something about something about being on like the estrogen and the progesterone and stuff like that. Something about that. It it almost gave you that weird like sense of you. I guess there's no better way to say this. There's no better way to say this. Like, you wanted to be with a man, or like you wanted to do certain things with a man. Like that's how it felt for me. Like, and I guess I use men like quotation marks. You know what I'm just gonna say that. You know what I mean when I say that, but you. It made you feel like that's what you wanted. So like, there's been that string lately. I mean, it's calmed down a bit more, and I'm still kind of at that weird point now individually where it's like, I don't know if I'm ace. I've stopped identifying as asexual, but like, I don't know truly where I am, and I think it benefits me that the person I'm dating is, for all intents and purposes, anti-sex. So like, I think that benefits me, not having to think about it as much. But I wonder just like how much it is, and then with the rise and fall of libidos and that's all that, and it's, I wonder where I am. But I do think, and again, this might have just been a me thing, or like a denial thing in the past, but coming up now. But like, it's just something I noticed. It's there was almost a want for, say, as a woman, a heterosexual relationship or a heterosexual sexual encounter. We'll call it that. But again, that's just me. And again, that might have been just a short-term thing. I don't know. Again, I'm still bi. I will still identify as bi forever, even though we can talk about the difference between bis and dans, and bi and pan. Like that's a discussion we can have another day. I identify as bi. It makes sense. My girlfriend's gender fluid, so it doesn't bother me either way. But it's one of those things that I like. I don't know if everyone goes through this, but it's definitely something I've noticed. So I'm curious if other people, if you guys see this now and you're learning about the future, or if someone who has already gone through what I've gone through can relate or comment on that. But that's all I'm gonna say about like libido stuff. But short and simple, yes. Uh, Progesterone will give you spikes of libidos high. Or for some people, it might just raise it all together. It might just raise it all together and just keep it high. For me, it gives me spikes. I get spikes with that. And then outside of that, most of the other stuff I could talk about is just, kind of the basic. I brought up skin softness in the last one. I think that goes up tenfold by the time you get to here. I remember in the 5 or 6 month, like, my back, you can start feeling it. And just kind of like, for a majority of the body. As long as, like, you do a good job shaving everywhere. And, like, that's good. You can actually start, like, the softness becomes more and more clear. And for me, I definitely feel that in, like the torso area in general. And, like, the body hair for your torso area, funnily enough, also kind of just stops growing. You still gotta deal with a lot of arms and leg stuff. Like, that bitch keeps coming. It just don't stop. But, like, the torso, chest area, like, I feel like it does stop. Or at least, it's very, very slowed for that. And, of course, speaking of chest for chest purposes, again, this might be me, because I don't know. I've been someone who's been overweight for a while. All my whole life, basically. Again, you guys have seen me on this channel. So for me, my chest, I can't confirm or deny it's grown. I don't think it has. I don't really have a way to measure if it has. So, like, to me, I don't think I've grown. And because of that, I don't think I've experienced, like, the breast growth pain. I could argue nipple sensitivity from time to time, but again, I don't know if that's just natural or if that's something else, or I don't know what that. And it's like, it's far and few for me to really, quote unquote, document it. But then, yeah, like I said, the tissue is also, it's less flab and more like firm. Like, oh, this is actually supposed to be here, instead of, oh, this bitch is overweight. Like, not like, ooh, this shit's actually supposed to be here. So it's like, I guess, firming and rounding out or something like that. I don't know. And again, if you are, thinner, clearly, and you're not used to chest weight, you might be experiencing that chest growth pain or whatever by now. And like that for certain. And a side comment that, again, I can't tell because of my weight, but fat redistribution, I think, does come into effect a little bit. And I've started to know that's more, with me on, like, the hips and the waist. In a weird way, I think my hips are getting smaller. I don't know if that makes sense. I can't prove it. But I will say, this pair of jeans I have on, you can't see it obviously, but I have a pair of jeans on right now. I've been wearing these for, a few years. And for the most part, like, they've been fine. Like, I've never had to wear a belt. They've always stayed in place, blah, blah, blah. Lately, in, like, obviously a couple months ago, I noticed this, like, it felt like they were getting loose. But especially nowadays, I'm starting to think, I haven't tried it, but I'm starting to think I need a belt. Or in some way, like, I need to start pulling them up farther. So that's now getting to the point where, like, the button for the jeans is I gotta put it up to about where my belly button is. Like I gotta hike them up for them to stay up, if that makes sense. And again, it's I don't know if that's body, it's just my body shape doing what it's doing, but that's something I've noticed. And whether or not my waist is actually getting smaller, I can't tell for certain. Again, either one of those things where like with my weight, I've already like the shape has already been here, so it's like you can't tell. But that's what I've noticed. So keep an eye out for that as well. And then with it being 9 months last time, for those who are actually watching HRT shit, last time you seen the face was 3 months. I'll let you guys be the judge if my face has changed a lot. You can't really see it in this camcorder webcam quality. I mean, you can take your pick on it. My glasses kind of make everything difficult to see, but this is in the short term you don't see it, but like when you look back and I'll post a thing on social media here, but I did a thing the other day, kind of doing 0, 3, 6, 9 months, and like ever so slightly you do see changes. It takes time, and again, you might not see it as because you got to see yourself every day, but there are slight changes. So to those who worry, patience. And I had to learn that today too. Patience. This is a process. It takes time. You're not going to notice a lot of things until 1 year, 2 years, or so on. It's a process. So you just gotta learn to take it in one day at a time. And you'll get there. You'll get to your idealized version of yourself. Give it time. You know what, with that, I'm going to call that good for this. If I have any points that I left out, I'll put them in the description down below. And, you know, if you ever have any questions you want to talk or you want to ask me just ask me how my journey's been. I'd love to have a conversation. Again, the way I see it, I do these videos because I think back to an Alice, to a Claire, who I saw their things, and they gave me like the motivation to want to do this. Because when you have someone who say comes out as trans, but like you don't know if you want to take that step, you're not unsure you want to take the step to actually hormonally replacing your body and making it more ideal for yourself. It's nice to hear from people, to give you an idea of what you will experience and see what that's like. And that's why I do these. For the way that Alice and Claire were there for me, I want to be that person for someone else. Even if it's just one. Even if it's just one person, I will take it. Because you matter. And you deserve to be happy for who you are. And you deserve to be comfortable in your own body. And that's going to be all from me. Feel free to yell at me. I will try to do a 1 year video. Just to really give an official, like, wow, what's happened? I don't know how many more, like, actual physical updates I can give in that 3 months. But we'll definitely see. We'll definitely see. Until then, my name is Catherine. Thank you all for stopping by for the 9-month video. And I will see you in the next one.